I'm scrutinising them, analysing them. That's what I'm doing. Everybody watch this and be like, yeah, I do that too now. Bet you.
That's so
Back me up,
strange.
people. Back me up. Because it's satisfying.
What do you look at? What do you look out for?
Well, the colour of it, the consistency of it.
Oh no!
You're tonguing yourself.
Yeah. I love chocolate.
I love gloves.
I love gloves.
Just to reuse that footage over and over.
I love fingers. I love chocolate fingers.
Don't say chocolate fingers, that's even worse.
Why?
Just take your time, Lips. Take your time. Cool, everybody. Welcome to the Aquarium, the Piscean presented podcast. I'm Coach Rab, and with us today is Lovely Libby for a change.
That's me.
You're going to be roasty toasty in that jumper.
I will.
It's lovely though.
Although the fire's not on, so.
I feel like I've let you down there. Should I put the fire on? Would I be more romantic if I put the fire on?
I actually did try and put the fire on.
Did you?
And I saw you coming.
Oh, is that why? Because when I got to the window, you kind of ran to the kitchen pretending to be busy. I was like, what is she doing?
Yeah, I tried to light the fire and then I was like, oh no, I know I might break it.
But then I saw there was like lights flickering. It was like, there's like a disco going on in my living room. What's going on? But it was you turned on the fairy lights. At first I thought it was the fire, because you know when a fire flickers.
I'm really good at fires, but
Clearly not.
But there was like ash everywhere and I was like, oh, maybe not. I can make a better fire than you, actually.
Oh, there we go. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Not to be confused with the glove.
Whopper.
Whoa, Whopper? It's not fucking Burger King.
Do you know that? Do you know that, old friends?
Was it not Whopper? Or was it Whopper?
Whopper.
Was it?
Yeah.
Whopper!
I think. Got me
You're
question.
like Burger King or something.
Whopper. Yeah.
Whopper.
Hi, everyone.
Now, tonight's episode is going to be all about perception. What people think of you and perception of maybe the things you do or even things in general.
Stereotypes. That comes into a lot of perception.
There's a social psychology term known as personal perception or person perception. That's what it is, person perception. Right. And it's a study into how we form impressions of other people. I always thought it was called personal perception, but it's weirdly person perception. So it's a social psychology and how we judge people. Yeah. And I was like, stop being so judgy, but you're judgy one way or another. You can't help it. It's your natural instincts.
Yeah. Is that perception then? Yeah. Not that's judging.
Yeah. Perception, yes. It's your perception of that person.
Yeah.
But person perception is the social psychology term of how we form impressions of other people.
Yeah. When I was reading up about it, just to have a bit of a...
Do your homework.
Do a bit of homework. It was saying that how we form first impression perceptions, it comes...
on the Piscean presented podcast.
Yeah. It comes in stages, and it's usually like manners. It was one.
Hold on 1 second. Nala's like nibbling her tail. She's like, Nala, this is not bath time, darling. Honestly.
She's never been in here, has she, since we've been doing it?
No. You're part of the podcast now, darling.
She's like, what is this? I saw her come in like when we were setting it up. I don't know if you saw, but she came in. She was like, what is going on here?
But remember, she was on one of the episodes when she was on the edge of the sofa. Remember, she was leaning
on
Now it's at yours.
Yeah. Yeah, she's pretty good. She just sits there.
Yeah, so back to stages. You're saying manners is one of the things we form first impressions of. Who else?
Yeah, manners was one, and how you've been brought up, obviously. So, but how you've been brought up, there's stages of the first impression. So, like if you've been brought up to open doors for people, let's just say, and they don't open doors for you because you've been brought up with that, you immediately form this
perception. Why didn't they open it?
Yeah, but because you've been brought up with it, I guess. Yeah. So everybody's been brought up a different way. So your perception, your first impression of
your perception of perceptions.
Yeah. Is obviously everybody's got a different impression.
What does it say? You don't get a second
Perception.
chance to make a first impression. You've heard that phrase before, right?
Yeah.
What was your first
I'm
impression?
just thinking.
When I came to rescue you that day, what was your first impression?
What was my first? Well, I thought you were very handsome. I did, but I thought that was very, very kind of you. Like no one else stopped but you. And I was like, oh, what a lovely man.
So the way the story went,
Who's
there was
this?
this bear, right? And she was cornered by a bear. And I just came to the rescue and I wrestled that bear. And
You did rescue me, actually.
I did.
Yeah. I remember a lady walked past and like she was just like.
Now, just for everybody to have understanding, Libby had a flat tire. And you were changing it, and it was up on a precariously set jack. And I came across to help because I was worried that the jack, that's one of my fears. When anybody's changing a tyre, right? If the jack isn't right, my fear, not that it falls on anyone, because usually people get out of the way, but it falls and then the van or car is then down on its axle, and then you're in a world of hurts. So when I saw it was kind of like a slight slant, I was like, I better save the day here.
My first impressions on you were good. I reckon you get, I feel this, I don't know about you, but I get, first impressions for me aren't necessarily their actions. I get like a bit of a feeling. I just had this vibe off you that you were just a lovely
Do you remember one of the
person.
So obviously we're chatting, but you know when you don't know someone, you're being kind of semi-professional, and you know what Libby said. So basically, I got the wheel on, and I was cranking the nuts. But she says, "Watch yourself. It's a bit of a dirty hand job." And I was like, I stopped. I was like, "Excuse me."
That's when we both laughed.
Yeah. Then you looked at me and you realised what you'd said. Obviously, it's a dirty hand job.
Yeah.
Me being child.
I wasn't actually meaning.
So you better watch, that's a dirty hand job. I was like, holy shit, this girl's my type of lady.
What?
Well, we didn't burst out laughing.
We did, we both burst out laughing. That was when we knew we had the same humour.
Yeah, you're almost as funny as I am. Close.
Almost.
Good.
Yeah. We'll just keep saying that.
Well, it's interesting because the Japanese, right, there's the Japanese say you have three faces. And your first face is, and think of it in layers, right? So your first face is kind of like your business face, or the one that you'd use when you meet strangers, or according to their philosophy. So that's the one where it's the most reserved version of you. You might avoid talking about, certainly in today's culture, certain things like religion or politics, and you would probably keep the humour to a minimum. In most people, the first face, and the analogy I use for this is, imagine like a friend of yours was a headmaster at a school, and you walk into the school to see them, and they're very much in headmaster or headmistress mode, whichever you want to put it, right? So that's their first face. The second face, the Japanese say, is the one that you would show to family and friends, so in a slightly inner circle. So if I was using the analogy of the headmaster, the second face might be when the headmaster goes home and rolls about on the floor with his dog. Now, anybody only knew the headmaster in a school environment probably can't imagine that same headmaster or rubbing the tummy of his dog, or, oh, he's a good boy, or he's a good girl, or anything like that. It would just seem like very, very different. But then what they say is that the third face, now the Japanese say you don't show your third face to anyone, whereas I believe that you show snippets of it to the people closest to you. So your third face is like the true you, the version of you that, you're alone with your thoughts. You might have certain views and opinions that you keep to yourself just because of society has changed over the years, a lot of political correctness here now. But the true version of you has certain thoughts. Now, this is one of the reasons why people that are closest to you can hurt you the most. Because when you let them in to see your true self and you build bonds, ultimately, when there's a fallout or a breakup or whatever happens, there's that second element or extra element of vulnerability, that person truly knows your true self, all the goods and the bad combined, you know? Like, you might have certain people who in public are a very openly kind, caring, popular person, but behind closed doors might have an absolute wicked temper that nobody knows about, or very few people know about. It doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, but it's not squeaky clean like the public might think they are, that kind of thing. So it's all about what faces you show to different friends. And sometimes you can think about, even within your own friend circle, you'll probably have some friends that you can completely be yourself with and you're relaxed. Now, they're the ones you'll feel more relaxed about because you won't feel judged because they just see you. But then there'll probably be people you associate with that you're a little bit guarded. So you might find you're closer to the first face in those situations. When you're in an environment and you're just not quite sure, you're still having a good, pleasant time, but it's kind of, you're kind of watching what you say.
I do think the older you get, though, the less that is.
Well, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? It's like we were wondering whether you just don't give a damn after a while.
Somebody commented that, actually. They were saying, weren't they, that the older that they got, the less they actually cared. So
yeah, because into our Instagram group, or that way, our private group, by the way, we put a wee post in asking that, and the general consensus was that people used to care about what people think and don't care as much now.
Yeah, and your friendship group gets smaller. It does as you get older. I guess, again, because the older you get, right, the less you care about what other people think.
Yeah. It's funny because people can, I mean, I'm not saying that those people that said they don't care genuinely don't care, but there's certain things you will care about what people think if it hits some of your core values or goes against them.
Yes, we've spoke about this before. Yeah,
like something happened. So when I was filming the TV series Secret Body, there was an incident that happened, which was just, it was a bit of a pickle. So basically what happened was, the way that they film these things, they try and cram a lot of filming into one day, but they make it look like it was filmed over 2 or 3, just for the sake of it, right? And it was a really, really hot day in 2021, back in 2000, or in fact, I think it was 2021. And was it 20? It doesn't matter, whenever it was. But it was an absolute scorching day. Now, what had happened was I had to drive up to this person's house. Now, we had to create a Zoom call with the person as if it happened that morning. And I could see the person stand outside their house. I'm in my car. It was scorching. I couldn't have the aircon on because, the recording and the sound of the aircon. The car was melting. We had to have the windows up because any traffic going by was affecting the sound. So anyway, I'm having this conversation with this person and I'm saying, hey, how are you? They're saying, hey, how are you? And it felt like we'd already done the greeting, right? Now, one of the things the production team said was some of the conversations, especially around the coaching side of things, they says, wait till the cameras are rolling. We want it to be genuine, which is fair enough. So anyway, I get out of the car and we'd already done the hellos. So when I then saw this person, they're like, why, how's things? I was like, yeah, good. And I had to change my shirt. I was sweating. It was minging. Anyway, this person was obviously excited and I could see that they had lost a good bit of weight since I saw them last. I was excited for them. And they were trying to then start the conversation because, of course, they were excited to talk about the result. Why wouldn't you be? Any normal person would. And I was just like, oh, well, we're going to literally be filming in your sitting room in a moment. We'll chat about it there. And production kind of backed that up. But then later on, the stress of filming, it's long days, these people aren't getting paid, and it's tough. And later on, the person was a little bit upset. They thought that I only cared about the cameras and I couldn't even give them a proper hello. And you were like, what? And it was one of those things that we resolved it. It was fine. But at the time, it did cut deep because I was like, that's not what I'm like at all.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't that. It was because in my head, I'd said hello when we'd done the Zoom chat. I was so uncomfortable and sweaty and I was told to wait off. So it was just cross wires. But the point to that is, as much as a lot of the time you can not care about what people think, if it clashes with one of your core values, if you're somebody that prides yourself on saying proper hellos and being polite, making eye contact and shaking hands or do whatever you need to do, and somebody makes out that you're not, sometimes you're like, that's not me.
Especially if it upset them.
Yes, yeah.
And, if it Yeah, if it upsets somebody else and you're like, no, that isn't actually.
And the thing is, I could completely understand why that person thought that, because they were so excited to show off. They wanted me to see the change, which I 100% could. I had to save my reaction. It's just the way production works. They want it all genuine on camera. And just the way it was one of those things, you know, you look back and nobody was really at fault, but it's one of those things you're just like, oh my goodness. But I remember at the time being quite affected by it, because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
Yeah. I mean, I can relate, and it's like, I remember my perception of people changed a lot when my dad passed away. But the reason for that was because, I'll never forget it, I was in Dobies, and I was with my sister at the time. We were in Dobies, and this, you know, we'd obviously just gone through this really hard time. And this lady in Dobies was really happy.
Right.
She was lovely and bubbly, and
something you knew, or just a random?
No, she was serving us.
Oh, okay.
We were just buying something, and then, you know, and we were obviously really down, you know, we were
understandably
a bit depressed, and, you know, we were just really not in a great place. And she was really happy and really bubbly, and she was just doing her job. She was serving us. And I walked, you know, and we were obviously just like dismissing it, but I didn't really notice we were being like that until I left. And in my head, I was thinking, gosh, she has no idea what we've just gone through, but she must be thinking, oh, they're rude.
Yeah.
So it opened my mind to things of like, if you did actually meet somebody you thought was being rude, actually, are they going through a really hard time? Or is something happened to them? I don't know. Anything. Like, are they having a really bad day? Because actually, there's a lot of the time people are rude to you. And probably most of the time they are just being rude. But, you know, are they actually having a really hard time? Because we just kind of were a bit like, you know, we weren't up for laughing, and, you know, we couldn't fake smile or... So it changed my opinion on that, is if somebody actually is quite horrible in some ways, especially working in the industries like hospitality or whatever, I sometimes think now, I'm like, oh, are they actually just having a bad day, or is my perception wrong?
Yeah. What is it? Yes, be kind to everyone. You never know what they're going through.
Yes, but I mean, I still think now to this day, God, she must have thought, God, they were rude.
Yeah.
But...
Well, it was like a client of mine I used to train in the gym. He used to come in with his wife, and he was notorious for being, he's a businessman that sold his business. And I actually played rugby with his son, and I ended up becoming really quite friendly with him. But I remember when I first started training him, he was more grumpy than normal. And I never used to ask too many questions, but I didn't realise they'd lost their daughter to MS, it was, the year before. And I mean, she's had it all her days, and I think she went to uni, and then ultimately, but you know, when you then realise, like, he was still coming into the gym, he was doing his workouts, and he was polite. He was always polite. But you know, when somebody, if you don't know that, you just put them down as being rude and grumpy, and not making much conversation, and you put a lot of energy into it.
Yeah.
Now, as it turned out, when I found that out, I obviously cut him loads of slack, and I was like, and you know, went away. But he's the one who, and I sometimes use this joke with clients when jumping Zooms. If I ever put the tone on, you're late. That's what he used to say to me, but it's hilarious. So what happened was, because this is when I worked in the gym, and if his session was at, say, 10:30 on a Friday morning, whatever it was, if I turned up even 1 or 2 minutes late, he was quite stern. He'd be like, you're late. And he meant it. And it's because he was very much like, well, and I agree with him. You know, in my mind, if you're not early, you're late. But where we broke ground, right, there was then one day where he was late, and I was standing at the top of the stairs, and I mimicked his voice perfectly. So you could see rushing to get the water, and he was kind of like, he knew he was late. He knew, and he was just getting his water. He was kind of sorry. And as he came up the stairs, I looked him dead in the eye. I was like, "You're late." And he looked at me, and he burst out laughing. I burst out laughing, and from that point onwards, it was just like it was good fun. You know, and he was just a different person. It was almost like, yeah. So I knew his boundaries, and he knew. Well, I wasn't joking, really. I was just playing on him. But he knew I was a cheeky shite. So
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You just never know.
So it's interesting, isn't it? If you were to talk about first impressions, there's no such thing, really, is there?
Because
Really,
lots of
is
things
there?
can happen, can't it?
Yeah, or even like down to if you get a coffee at Costa and it's like the end of the day, like they're less likely to probably be. Do you know what I mean? They've just gone through a whole day, but you know, it's good to be mindful of that when people are, because we're all human, and I personally don't believe that you should keep a smile on your face all the time.
You do get some people that are very polite in their grumpiness. Sometimes they're very much like, I'm really, really sorry, I'm going through something right now. And they're very clear, there's something, or I'm not having a good time, or I'm going through a hard time, I didn't mean to be that way. So right away, you're just like, you what?
I'm just thinking of the door slamming yesterday.
See, yesterday, I just heard this door slam. I was like,
I'll be honest with you, I was grumpy.
oh, wait. Oh, you were but not with me though. You were just in a grumpy mood.
I was grumpy because I was really tired.
Yeah, and the door slammed, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
But I didn't mean to slam it. I actually didn't. I got Rab to go to the door. I was like, no, honestly, like just touch it and it flies.
Yeah, but no, you must have absolutely launched that.
Sorry.
Anger issues. She has. But we just don't know what she's going through.
I'll just be quiet. Oh, yes. But yeah, I think first impressions. I don't really believe in first impressions. I would never judge anybody on a first impression. I actually wouldn't.
No. Well, that's lucky for me then, eh?
I mean, stereotypes come into it massively, don't they? I do think now it's a bit more, I think the world is a lot more, I don't know, open and free.
Well, stereotypes are classic. Like, whenever I'm in the supermarket, not so much nowadays, but in the past, if I bumped into a client, they would hide their basket from me or their trolley, right? They'd be like, oh, as if they've been caught out. And I used to be quite open with mine. I've had beers or wine in there, right? But it's a stereotype that a fitness instructor or a coach leads an absolute squeaky clean life. Now, I've never pretended to live a squeaky clean life, but they stereotype me. So sometimes when I say,
Why would that be?
It just happens. It's like, so even to this day, even clients I've trained for years, I'll say, I'll need to, if we've gone through a phase where if we have too much wine at night, I'm going to can it for a couple of weeks. Say, you drink wine every night? I'm like, sometimes I go through phases doing that. I'm surprised by that. I'm like, I'm just human like you. I'm like, if I get home and get into a bad habit of having a glass of wine in every night, then every so often I think to myself, right, time to clean this up. But it's because they have those kind of habits and they somehow think that with me teaching fitness that I'm on some sort of health pedestal. It's like, I'm surprised by that. You're like, well, it's, it's perceptions, or they think that you constantly are eating kale smoothies and not an ounce of fat on you and all this kind of stuff. And there are trainers and coaches out there that live the life that they preach, but it seems very, very strict.
Yeah.
I
would never said that, but...
Oh, God. Welcome back.
Good blow?
So when you were younger, right? And a parent or guardian was like getting you to clear your nose and they'd stick the tissue in it,
yeah.
Blow! You're like...
Yeah.
I always laugh though when I get, because Mila, especially Misha, she loves doing that.
What? Should I say what? Actual putting it up?
When I get her to blow her nose, because we always blow it and we look at it. Is that a guy thing to do? Must be. Do you look at it?
What?
See, when you blow your nose, you ever look at it? No?
No.
You acting all prim and proper. My first perceptions of you were that you would have blown your nose and looked at it.
That's not prim and proper. You're just...
Everybody looks at their tissue after they've blown their nose.
I don't look at my tissue, but I do look at a bogey if I've picked it.
Same thing. Kind of.
What do you do then once you've picked it?
Well, once I've picked it.
Come on. Tell
Was
me
it pick it, lick it, roll it, flick it?
Yeah.
I never licked it though.
No, neither. No. I've never eaten my bogies.
Oh, that's very disgusting.
That's quite a thing, isn't it, though, for kids? They eat their bogies, isn't it? It'd be like salty. I have tried it before, like just to try it. It's salty. Well, you look at your bogies, don't.
I'm looking. I'm scrutinising them, analysing them. That's what I'm doing. Everybody watch this and be like, yeah, I do that too now. Bet you.
That's so
Back me up,
strange.
people. Back me up. Let me know in the comments if you look at your bogies when you blow your nose. Because it's satisfying.
What do you look at? What do you look out for?
Well, the colour of it, the consistency of it.
Oh no!
Well,
really?
it's like when you've been in London and you blow your nose and there's blackness in it. You're like, whoa! From all the smog, you're like, I'm glad that's out.
No way.
Yeah. Or if you've had a cold and it comes out as green as this green screen that you can't see because we use a backdrop, then you're like, I'm glad that's out. You tell me you've never looked at it.
No, I have never ever done that. That would make me feel a bit sick, actually, if I did that.
Oh, just rub it in, just make me feel like a little one.
I'm sorry. That's disgusting.
Now, what were we saying before I buggered off to blow my nose?
We were talking about perceptions.
Perceptions.
If we can remember, but we watched Harry Potter.
Oh, yes. Oh!
We watched Harry Potter. We had a little marathon. And one of the things, actually, talking about perceptions, was the character Snape.
Yeah, that's by far the best story thread in that whole series.
Oh gosh, yeah. And how Snape is, throughout the whole of the Harry Potters, what was it, 10 odd years, Harry Potter, we all followed it. And everybody, even I was convinced, that's why I think I love it so much, because I don't know about you, but I remember watching the Harry Potters and I even didn't like Snape. I was like, I don't like Snape, he's in it for Harry. And I totally believed that, like genuinely. I never at one point when I was growing up watching Harry Potter thought Snape was, going to turn out. Yeah. So I think that's why it hits me quite hard, Harry Potter, because I'm like, oh God, he really did prove me wrong. And, the perception of Snape was...
I think that's the best piece of writing in Harry Potter. That storyline, that thread, I feel is the best piece of writing, because you never saw it coming. Yeah.
And it's just it's so lovely as well, like that, he loves the kids, like, loads of them as well, not even just Harry. He looks out for quite a few, and he's just totally this person that everybody thought he wasn't.
Yeah.
And I love that. You're just totally, shocked. And that happens a lot in people in general. There's quite a lot of people that you think but you really don't. They actually...
It's when people get the wrong impression of you as well. They think one thing.
Do you think anyone's had a wrong impression of you?
I think a lot of things, yeah. But I kind of laugh inwardly because the people that need to know the real me know the real me.
I definitely have had it.
Have you? Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like the people that are closest to you, I guess if we use the Japanese faces, other people might have just met your first face and that's fine, right? But the people closest to you learn who you are deep down and then, whatever else. But it's, people can get you wrong 100% for a good reason and a bad reason. Some people think somebody can be very, very nice or whatever. I mean, the one I get a lot of time, on first impressions, used to be that I was either full of myself or I was a player. That was the one I used to always get. And people used to say to me, because I used to work in different spa environments where there's a lot of ladies, and they would all say the same thing, like, Rab, I totally thought you were a player till I got to know you. And I was like...
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how on first impressions, because the thing is, if you're friendly, you're chatty and smiley, some people take that as you're chatting them up, and sometimes you're just being friendly.
Yeah. So what, even if you were, anyway?
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Exactly. What was your perception of me?
When we first met? Well, obviously I was trying to get to know you, and then when you said the dirty hand job comment, I was like, she's brilliant. Well, because I was attracted to you anyway, but then...
Did you have like I don't know. I knew you were a lovely person because of your actions, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not that type of person, but do you really put a perception on somebody like that?
Well, it's impressions, isn't it? Your perception is the impression that they've given you. Because I remember even the first couple of times we were, dating or seeing each other, I remember I knew you were going to warm up, but you were coming across as very professional. And I was like,
really?
And I remember even...
You've never said that.
I did, I've told you that before, because I remember,
sorry.
I remember saying to you, or I remember saying to myself, and then later on we laughed about it, I was like, it's only a matter of time before the baby voices come out. And then when they did, I was like, ha, I knew it.
Yeah.
But in the early days, like, it's funny how, like, when you really know somebody and you're having a laugh and doing this and that next thing, but when you rewind time, you think, you can't imagine that person going, baby!
Yeah.
When you first...
How weird would that be?
I'm changing the tire going,
yeah.
It just wouldn't have happened, would it?
You've just gotten better, though.
Oh, like a fine wine.
You are. I think you've gotten better the more I've known
you. Make everything better. I stand by that. See, you've made me better. There you are.
You make.
No, you make everything
You
better.
are, though. You have. You have just gotten better. So, again, first impressions, right? It means nothing to us.
But yeah, there's other instances like some of the people I grew closest with as friends were the people that I clashed with in school. Because I remember there was one guy I was at school with, and whenever we used to do these inter-house events, I just clashed with them. For some reason, when you just think somebody doesn't like you, you don't like them by default because they don't like you. And then it wasn't until we're at that age we're having beers and we found ourselves on our own one night when we were wandering the streets and we just got chatting about it. And it's funny because he's like, oh, I thought you didn't like me. And I was like, well, I thought you didn't like me. And they were like, cheers. And then from that point onwards, that was great. But again, it's just sometimes people just, I don't know, you could maybe just catch somebody on an off day. And if it sets off on a bad foot, right, from that point onwards, it's like, you know.
Yeah. I sometimes think that with me, some people might get a perception of me as quite off, like an off person. Because it takes me a while to get chatty with somebody.
Didn't take you a while with me.
It did actually.
Oh, didn't it?
Do you not remember?
Yeah.
You were like, oh, well, I'm not going to say too much, but like, just open up. Do you remember?
Well, yeah, that's
like,
what I was saying 2 minutes ago. Because you were very much
but that's what I mean.
reserved /
I mean, that's why my friend group is very small.
Well, we were just saying recently, there's lots of, you know,
Yeah.
if you have a large set of friends, it means you have no friends at all. If you know, whereas the more genuine you are, you'll have good, solid, real friends.
Yeah, they say it's the best version of you.
Yeah.
That's what it's not true, but
But if you have far too many friends, then you don't have any real friends. That's what they say. Because it's the idea is that there's no way you can, I don't mean this negatively, but service that many friendships. You can't.
You just can't.
They'd all be surface level. And therefore, if all you're doing is having surface level friendships, like when I was going back to the Japanese with 3 faces, nobody's getting to know the real you. They're just getting to know the version of you that you're presenting.
Yeah.
That is so common today, is that how many people do you truly know? Because if you spend a lot of time with them, yes, you will truly get to know them. But if you don't, you're only then experiencing what they're allowing you to see, which is why you get the hell of a shock when you hear people that you thought and had a certain impression of them do things that are so out of character. You're like, where the hell did that come from? But then you reflect on it and you think, well, I actually didn't know them that well. I spent time with them, little chunks here or there, but I didn't actually know them that well.
Do you think though that the only thing is that you have to go a little bit easy on people, because I reckon everybody does have that side to them. Well, a side that I don't know what do you call it, like
Dark side.
I don't know, what would you call it?
What? No, I don't think
Well,
everybody
not
does.
necessarily the side that's lovely.
Yeah, but
I think
it depends on why
everybody-
it's come out. I think there's a difference.
Frustration or whatever.
Yeah, I mean everybody has their less than shiny side, but it's how genuine people are, because you can usually tell. Like I've got some clients I'm really really fond of, and they're genuine people, but I can also tell that if they're angry, they'll tell you, right? But that doesn't mean they're a bad person, because then when they do tell you, like, oh, okay, right, okay, whatever. If you not that I've ever done that, but if you're ever on the wrong side of them, you can get it. But you get people out there that don't present their genuine side all the time, or if at all, or certainly not to you, you know.
What was it you said? You said like the 3-month mark.
Yeah, that's
Do you still believe that?
I do believe that people can only keep things up, a facade up, for 3 months. Now, if you spent a lot of time, so if you went to a job or a new person came into a role at work, we'll just use working example because let's just take the office format. You're 9 till 5, right? Now, if somebody is a particular way, right, you will find out if they're putting on a facade after the 3-month mark. And that goes for relationships as well and even friendships. They can only keep up for about 3 months, and after that, cracks will start to appear. Now, if you don't see a lot of them, that 3 months can be prolonged, but ultimately, you will eventually see somebody's true side if they're not genuine. If they are a genuine person, they're being themselves, then they'll always be themselves. So you don't have to have that concern. But you will get kind of, I've come across people where you're just kind of like, can't quite get a read on them, and then you're like, yeah, there's something not quite, and then you're not surprised if you've not quite got a read on somebody later on when you find out certain things they've said, done, or whatever. You're like, yeah, that makes sense because of whatever. I mean, if you are a genuine person, right, and that does not disrespect anybody that doesn't present because they maybe not comfortable being their complete self, right? But there are people out there, unfortunately, there's a term known as covert narcissism, right? And these are really dangerous people who are very charming, but they're not genuine people. And you see a lot of them online, and who they are online is not who they are in real life. And they present a particular front, and then the people that are close to them and know that that's not strictly true, but they get away with it. I mean, we hear about that celebrities all the time.
So then again, if we're going to talk about perceptions, then right,
It's what
narcissists.
Well, narcissists
mess that up.
Well, especially covert narcissists, because they're very clever at being chameleons. This is why you get celebrities who present a particular front, and their agent helps give that impression. So our perceptions of them are, they're this, they're that. Then later on, you hear like, I still stand by. There's certain celebrities I just don't trust.
Yeah.
Like, I don't trust Jennifer Lopez. I never did.
Yes.
And then
neither.
I was not shocked when I heard stories that she's a bit of a madam.
She's rude.
Yeah. Now,
she's horrible to some.
I had that perception of her before I heard those stories. There was something about her. And I remember she did that whole song, I'm Still Jenny from the Block. I was like, I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Really?
Like, why would you sing the song, I'm Still Jenny from the Block? You're like, nah, I don't think you are with all your millions now. And as it turns out, she's very far from being Jenny from the Block.
Is there any celebrities then you can think of with your perception? Other than J-Lo?
Negatively or positively?
Both.
Both. Okay, so the two big ones I've met in my life. I've met quite a few, but...
Oh, I think I know what you're saying.
So the first one was Justin Timberlake, actually. And
you were at the gym with it.
Yeah, so the way that happened, and it's the weirdest thing. Well, it's funny you say that because it was when I worked in St Andrews and he was there for the Dunhill Cup. And he had his own trainer and he had a bodyguard. And because I was the resident PT, I had the right to be in the gym. I was kind of just leaving him too. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be, because all the girls were fangirling over him, but they were all warned, stay away from him kind of thing. And but then basically what happened was I had to go in, and when I was in there, I had to stock all the water stuff. And he actually just got chatting with me. He started the conversation because I think he was just bored. And I just got chatting with him. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like, in my head, because I wasn't fanboying, I'm a big fan of him now, but at the time I didn't really care. I was thinking to myself, this guy looks like Justin Timberlake. That's what was going through my head. And he ended up sending his trainer and his bodyguard away, and it was just me and him in the gym. And then we're watching the football. He was talking about he's a big Man U fan and just chatting away about bits and pieces. And it was just...
So what was your perception on him before?
Well, before, I was neither here nor there. I just thought he was one of these boy bands. Well, he was NSYNC and then
okay, so you didn't like dislike him.
No, but then afterwards, I realised he's actually just a normal person. And he's actually quite cool and chatting away. And it was the fact I realised, you're just a normal guy. Like, you're a normal guy that's a really good singer-songwriter who's been very successful because of your talents. Like, good for you. So that those perceptions were... So, it could have gone the other way. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It could have gone the other way. And it was one of those situations where I was pleasantly surprised. My impression beforehand, I would have just disregarded it as some boy band that was full of himself. Having spoken to him, it was only for about an hour and a half.
I would never think that.
Well, maybe it's just because the more that people flatter or like, oh my God, he's this, he's that, oh my God, and the fangirling over him, it makes guys naturally go, guys want to downplay for their own. Right. I guess at my time.
I guess I'm a bit like Mariah Carey. Oh my gosh, she's full of herself.
Well, but she is quite full of herself, you know.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Arguably a one-hit wonder. It's just a very good one-hit, let's be fair.
Yeah. Was that the Christmas one?
The Christmas. She still makes a lot of money from that. Like, ridiculous. That's what we need to do, is write this Christmas song.
What we do?
Well, I can't bloody sing, so it's on you, sweetheart. I'll dance for you.
I can't sing anymore.
I don't think I could.
Do you know what? I actually tried to. I wish you. Well, I'm glad you didn't see it, but I tried to sing. I put The Greatest Showman on. You know The Greatest Showman?
Yeah, with Hugh Jackman.
I love the songs in that, and I put that album on today, and I tried to sing today, and oh my god, Rab, you would have laughed. I was literally like, and I was trying to sing because I used to be able to kind of sing. I used to have a diaphragm. I did. I swear I did. My mum will back me up on this. I sang at my sister's wedding. Like, I actually did used to be able to sing a little bit. I'm not doing a Mariah Carey here. But yeah, anyway, I tried to sing the van and I was just screeching. It was horrendous. So bad. I was literally like, I am so bad at singing. Have you ever done that where you're literally like, I am horrendous at
I
singing?
can only joke sing. You know, like I'm deliberately putting on. Or...
No, like you should actually properly try. In your own.
No, I really can't. That's the thing. I've tried. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. I'm like, God, I am so bad at
it's
singing.
Like, know your limits.
Yeah, stop getting ahead of yourself, Mariah Carey. Yeah.
She makes a she's laughing all the way. Every Christmas, she's like,
She's just.
What other celebrities do your head in?
I'm not a big fan anymore. I quite liked her in Transformers, but I'm not a big fan of Megan Fox.
No.
I've watched a couple of interviews on her and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you who I went off recently. Remember, Blake Lively.
Oh, Blake Lively, yeah.
So those interviews have surfaced. Now, again, it could be taken out of context, but it did, like, and then you sent me the link of the reporter explaining why when the reporter was explaining why she released the footage, she seemed genuine. That's what did it for me.
No, definitely.
Like, she seemed genuine in her reasons. She said, you know, when she was telling her story, she was pointing out, like, these celebrities are just people and they shouldn't treat people that way. And it was, if you've ever seen the Blake Lively interview, she was obviously triggered. I think what happened was Blake Lively was probably got some concept in her head that she was sick and tired of being asked female-based questions. Because the question that triggered her was, what did you think of the clothing that was worn in the movie? And then she started saying, I wonder if they'd asked so-and-so what the clothes, you know, and her and the co-star that were getting interviewed started to bully the presenter by just laughing amongst themselves. It was really uncomfortable to watch. Now, regardless of whether Blake Lively, you know, was triggered or whatever, when there's two of you and one reporter, that's not really fair. And if you are, I always say, like, these kind of actors...
Yeah, but before any of the questions even started, the first question that the interview asked Blake Lively was, congratulations on your little bump.
Oh, and then she said, congratulations on your...
Yeah, on yours.
Yeah, and that was a bit hard.
That was before any of the questions. You can't even say it's related to the woman.
Yeah, it almost makes you think something had happened off screen or something.
But the lady, she did... I sent you that, right? And I believe her, personally. I think I believe her.
Yeah.
She would have said then and there, you know, something odd happened.
Yeah. And it's also, this is what... Like, there's a lot of people calling to ignore Hollywood nonsense because they don't live in the real world. And I happen to agree with that. And the reason for that is that, like, these Hollywood stars, let's face it, they want the fame. That's why they go and they practice, right? They're not just wanting to put on a good performance. They want to be famous. And then when they get famous, it's like, oh, well, actually, they don't want everything that goes with it all of a sudden. You know, if it was just very much like they just want the money, then they wouldn't do all the interviews, they wouldn't do all this extra stuff, they wouldn't, you know, but no, they want the best roles and they want to be big and famous. And then when it comes down to what goes with it, they then start being rude and it all goes to their head a little bit. And you just like, you know what?
I couldn't think of anything worse.
What then?
Than to be famous.
Yeah, I quite like living an anonymous life. Which again goes against us doing live things, but we enjoy making this content. But I wouldn't want to be. I mean, you think of these celebrities that can't walk down the street.
Yeah, but we're not making this to become famous.
No, we're making this because we want to have fun.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And we'll appeal to a select audience, and it won't be appeal to everyone, and we know that. But the people we are appealing to, we're trying to make good content. That's why we've got our private Instagram for those that are. Request to join. But for those people that are into it, we're wanting to try and build a nice community. So we want to appeal and give good content to those that are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, we're not looking for the followers or whatever. We are generally just enjoying it. But I couldn't think of anything worse. Imagine, I don't know, just imagine I look at Kim Kardashian and I watch her going down the street and people are like in her face and she can't even get through without security guards, and all these people are like hounding her.
Or when people are on the beach, other celebrities on the beach, like is it Chris Pratt that was in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was in that movie we watched together when they were alone on the space station. Anyway, Basic Passengers, I think it was called Passengers. Now he was on the beach and he was slightly out of shape from when he was in shape, and they're snapping him and pointing out the fact he's currently not in, or at that point, not in his best shape. You're like, that is harsh. Like, my body weight fluctuates depending on what I'm doing. Like, at the moment, I'm getting back in shape. But there's times, like, when I say out of shape, it's my version of out of shape. But if somebody took a photo of me, like, remember when we went on that, we went to Taymouth, remember? I was saying, I'm not, because we did the whole water splash, and we videoed with each other. And
I thought you were going to talk about the guy that asked you for a photo.
Oh, no.
Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah, that was the dinner thing, yeah. But I was dressed then. But basically, we were at the spa thing, and I was just in my shorts, and I was looking at myself going, oh, Rab, you need to get back in shape. So imagine that had made the front page of a magazine.
That was just for us.
What? No, I know that, but I'm saying, if a magazine had just taken that snap from afar and says, oh, he's out of shape, you think that's
makes me so sad. It's so mean.
Well, I suppose when it comes back to perceptions, it's that whole thing,
but it's so mean.
Well, of course, but they assume that the people, because those celebrities have been wanting to be in the public eye, it's almost like the press are like, well, you have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, you have to deal with
it's almost like
criticism.
an FU to them a little bit, isn't it? It's like, you want to put yourself in the limelight? All right, sunshine. That comes with the moonlight as well, you know?
Yeah. Dancing in the moonlight. I'm not going to say.
Well, she's drinking her pina colada, and you cannot say that without singing.
Do you like pina colada?
I was even saying that to the lady yesterday when I was buying
you said.
I was like, God, and then we were having a laugh about things being earworms, right? So my first impressions of you, I had a feeling that you were going to open up, because I know we're both Pisceans. And you also, so that was not the first. I didn't know that right off the bat.
You opened up quickly, though.
Well, I did, because I'm a big gobby boy, but when I got chatting to you, there was something that drew me to you, obviously. And then the minute you said that dirty hand job comment, which, just to remind everybody, was to do with actually fixing a car, and I would have probably got dirty hands. We burst out laughing, and there was a look in your eye when you laughed, because you genuinely hadn't realised what you'd said. And I remember looking up and going, excuse me?
Yeah.
And we burst out laughing, and I remember thinking, I want to get to know this girl more. I did.
I was definitely like, I need to get to know
this boy.
this man. You were wearing your leather jacket.
Yeah, there we go. I was a silver tongue devil.
Oh my gosh, and that day was the best day of my life. Oh, I'm so glad that day happened. That was lovely.
It's funny when you tell the story, isn't it? It's like, well, how'd you guys meet? It's like, well, she had a flat tire and I stopped filming.
Everybody's like, no way, did that actually happen? I'm like, yeah, no, he literally, I was broken down.
You were broken down.
I could have been broken down anywhere in Perth. Perth's not massive, but I could have been broken down anywhere, and
at any point in your back, right in my path, right where I would be.
I always say, don't I? I get quite passionate about it, but like everything you did in that day,
I never actually
led up to that.
Checked whether you actually had a puncture, though. I mean, for all I know, you just jacked up your car and removed the wheel.
Why would I do that?
Entrapment, people. It's entrapment.
Why would I do that?
She stopped me for months beforehand.
All right.
I'm going to wait here at this exact moment.
Oh my God.
I'm going to remove the tyre and then pretend I'm a damsel in distress.
You're crazy. crazy. Is that what you would do?
That is something I probably. If you hadn't done it, I was gonna. I was gonna be jacked up like Libby.
We always make a joke that actually Rab was the one that burst the tire.
Yeah, I put a very really calculated puncture in her tires.
Because it happened to just be outside his house. I'm like, oh,
just
there's
so
Rab.
happens.
You're like, oh, I live just there. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, right, so you're right opposite?
Yeah, I know. That was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Oh.
First impressions. And it's, I suppose when you think about your friend circle and whatnot, like you think about some of the friends you're still close with. And if you actually think about your first impression of them, most of your really close friends with, you probably hit off right away.
Sometimes as well, like first impressions, the more you get to know somebody, I quite like, I don't know what you think, but I sometimes quite like a fiery side to somebody, or those sides that potentially maybe the first impressions you didn't get, but you like then to see them a bit later on. Sometimes a wee fiery side, or I don't know, a stubborn side, or
You're just listing all my bad qualities.
or a stubborn side, or a fiery side,
Or a huffy side.
or moody side,
Or the childish side. Just keep going down the list, ticking them off as you go. Don't miss anything out.
no.
Or the slamming door side.
Do you think I've got a fiery side?
I don't know, but that door didn't slam itself.
I don't think I do. But you say Pisceans do.
No, we have our Mr. Hyde. That's, or in your case, Miss Hyde.
I don't think I do, though.
If you've pushed enough, that's what they say. Pisceans are Jekyll and
I
Hyde.
am pushed.
Well,
I've been pushed.
Well, they say
before.
Geminis are split personality, but Pisceans definitely have a Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, 90% of the time they're Jekyll, but if you cross them enough, they will become Mr. or Miss Hyde. I reckon you would. I reckon you'd turn.
How far do I have to be pushed? I've been pushed quite hard in my life. Never ever.
You've never dated a Piscean. I will push you to the limits, baby.
Oh, great. I'm looking forward to that. Great.
So again, we have our Instagram. So it's Aquarium Podcast. You can do it this time. You do it so gentle. I'm like, oh, I'm going to
Can you
edit
blow it up while I do that?
You said always in the guard, people. Always. Shame on you, Libby. Shame on you. Do you know, I used to be a very mature individual. Take me seriously. You're my fucking kid.
Instagram here, guys. Follow us. I'll accept you.
We will follow you back as well. And we're trying to build a nice community. And like each week leading up, we put posts in to get people's perception on the lesson coming. So
Yeah. Give us some ideas as well if you have any ideas for.
oh, Stuart joined the Instagram as well. So big shout out to Stuart. He's currently helping us with our
Thanks, Stuart.
thumbnails.
They're absolutely amazing thumbnails.
Yeah, and he's actually doing some shorts for us as well. So he's a busy man. Well, he's between jobs. So
Thanks,
I
Stuart.
don't know what we're going to do, Stuart, when you get a full-time job.
Yeah, I know. But good luck on the full-time.
Yeah, good luck on the full-time job stuff. Yeah,
But we'll miss you.
but we'll miss you. But good.
Yeah. All right, guys. It comes out on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
I hope you've all had a nice weekend, guys.
Our clocks changed this weekend. So things will be GMT rather than GMT plus one.
Great.
You've run out of gas.
Yeah.
She's run out of gas.
Yeah.
She's just looking at me licking her lips on. What a guy.
I don't even know what to say.
I'll just look at him.
I don't know what I was doing there. I was just staring
You're like-
at you. Do you know what? Do you know what I was thinking of?
What are you
It's
thinking
going to be really random. Turkey dinosaurs.
We were talking about them the other day.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking, I wonder if you'll have turkey dinosaurs in this
Oh, I would love
freezer.
turkey dinosaurs.
You don't have turkey dinosaurs, do you?
I don't. No. I used to love alphabet spaghetti as well.
Because we've not had dinner yet.
I know.
We don't have dinner for you guys.
We filmed these late on a Wednesday night,
Yeah.
people, and we've done a whole day of work. Working's amongst game, people. Right, we will sign this off. How are we going to sign this off?
Cuckoo, goodbye.
That's what Mila
I
said,
know,
isn't it?
I know.
And Misha says it as well.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to
Like,
follow
comment.
our Instagram, like, and subscribe.
I do that, and you're supposed to do that again. To the...
I just closed a scene.
How'd you put?
I just closed I just closed it.
Okay, I'll shush you and do it again then. There you go.
No, I'm not doing it again.
Oh, come on.
No, don't push me.
Oh, don't push me. Don't push me. I'm going to
came
slam that
naturally.
door.
That came naturally. I didn't even know I was doing it.
Really?
So
You
just,
should get it.
I will give out my autographs in a couple of days.
Couple of days.
No, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. I'm such a douche.
Do you actually have any chicken nuggets?
Don't have any turkey dinosaurs. That's what you really wanted to ask, isn't it?